Not these glasses, Igor. Hand me the scary ones. And oh, they go so good with my tan.
Count Scary's 3D Party, Tuesday, July 6th at 8 p.m.
Get ready for more Monster Madness.
Oh, isn't it beautiful?
When it comes to slashers, and not just the 80s ones, there's something we take for granted: the gimmicky costume. It all started as an artistic device in Halloween, obscuring Michael Myers' humanity to make him seem more foreboding and evil. And then, with the rise of the 80s whodunit slasher, the costume was needed to show the killer and hide their identity. Some movies just had the killer wear anything they could get their hands on, like Terror Train, that I talked about in the first Monster Madness. But then, there are movies that try to do something creative or interesting with the killer. This is definitely true of the Prowler. Let's take a look. In terms of story, the Prowler is definitely an 80s slasher. A group of young people are stalked by an evil killer while all they want to do is party. But for this film, the killer is what holds the whole thing together. The opening sequence is a mix of archival footage and scenes set in the 1940s as veterans return from war. But one vet is angry because his girlfriend dumped him for another man, and he decides to get revenge by murdering them. The unique and creative killer is what made a lot of these 80s slashers interesting. With a formulaic plot, you need something to stick out, and the Prowler definitely does. There's some really creepy imagery as the masked man in full army fatigues prowls the hallways and tries to kill teenagers. The writing isn't incredibly inspired, but it's enough that the killer actually has a motivation and a purpose more than just looking cool. So, the Prowler gets a 3 for story. As a scary movie, this one delivers occasionally. The kills are effective and gory, and the score reinforces the few jump scares that it has. A majority of the spookiness that the movie has comes from the atmosphere and special effects. The appearance of the killer really carries a lot of weight in this department, and that's what drives up the scariness of the movie. Overall, there's not too many jump scares or that much genuinely frightening stuff, but there's enough to get this movie by with a score of 3. In the comedy department, the Prowler has very little. The movie takes itself very seriously, and, with all the kills and creative scenery, there's not much screen time left for comedy. As a result, this one gets a 0. In terms of kills, however, the Prowler over-delivers. Special effects master Tom Savini comes to deliver some of his finest work in this film, and it shows. Every single kill is gruesome and well executed, from throat slittings to pitchfork stabbings. One character gets his head stabbed clean through with a bayonet, and the resulting kill is glorious to behold. And, to top it all off, Tom Savini gives us an absolutely glorious head explosion, our second from him this Monster Madness. So, in terms of kills, it feels right to give this one a 5 out of 5. But beyond the kills and the writing, there's something that makes this movie really stick out to me: its craft. Every single scene feels well thought out and crafted. There's good camera work, lighting, and most importantly, editing. You can really feel that there was a creative voice behind this film that really wanted to make a good movie. For me, that voice is most evident in a sequence where the teens getting ready for the dance is intercut with the killer putting on his uniform. Such a creative use of parallel editing is the result of a really creative filmmaker, and it should come as no surprise that that filmmaker is Joseph Zito. One of the greatest slasher directors of the 80s, and the director of one of the most iconic Friday the 13th films, Zito really broke out into the world of horror with this film. And it's an achievement worth celebrating with a score of 4 in the craft category. So how does the Prowler stack up? All in all, it brings home a 15 out of 25. This movie isn't the most original slasher I've ever seen, but it's engaging, well-made, and loaded with grisly kills that would make any horror fan happy. All in all, The Prowler is a heavily underrated slasher film that should be much more respected in the subgenre. So, if you're in the mood for a fun, creative, and masterfully crafted 80s slasher, give The Prowler a watch. And, until next time, stay spooky.